All right, let's talk about Cori Bush. I don't know if you've heard about this, but Cori Bush, who is, a supporter of defund the police, Ben, she's part of the squad, and she's pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine. She's under criminal investigation right now for misusing federal security money. She apparently has spent at least $500,000 on private security and funneled, get this, at least $60,000 to her boyfriend, who's now her husband, to work for her as a security guard. The problem with that is he's not licensed to work as a security guard in her home district back in Missouri or in Washington, D.C. I'm wondering, Ben, why so many Democrats are taking money from taxpayers and then using it to pay their boyfriends and or now husbands. Cori Bush, the latest. Fani Willis, of course, another recent example down in Georgia.
By the way, you also mentioned Ilhan Omar, who I literally wrote the book on, substantiating the idea that she ought to be expelled from Congress. American Ingrid wrote it 3 years ago. Urge everyone to check that out. She also paid
I like that,
her
Ben.
former
I like Ben. You
boyfriend.
literally wrote the book on that.
Yeah.
We should have booked you for that segment,
as I talked about in that book, paid her boyfriend, who was a political consultant at the time, hundreds of thousands of dollars, his firm, and then they ultimately married after that. So there is a running theme here, and that is funnel taxpayer dollars to your close acquaintances, let's put it that way, and in some cases more than that. But, I think, obviously, the big story here is no police for you, privately funded police using taxpayer dollars. By the way, former new Black Panther Party member, I believe.
It was a Black Panther Party.
And that speaks to exactly the world that the left is creating, in which you can't defend yourself with a gun, no Second Amendment rights.
Wait, but Ben, let's not, hold on. I don't want to get too in the weeds. She's paying her boyfriend $60,000. Now she's married to this guy, okay? She paid him $60,000 to be her security guard, okay? In the state of Missouri, you've got to register if you're going to provide private security services, which is just blatantly against the law, but she is doing what Fani Willis is doing and blaming MAGA Republicans. Listen.
In recent months, right-wing organizations have lodged baseless complaints against me, peddling notions that I have misused campaign funds to pay for personal security services. That simply is not true. I have complied with all applicable laws and House rules and will continue to prioritize the rules that govern us as federal elected officials. In particular, the nature of these allegations have been around my husband's role on the campaign.
Yeah, your husband's role is to be your security, except he's not able to be security because he's not registered to do security. But here she is blaming MAGA Republicans because, of course, it's their fault that she paid him $60,000 to do a job that he wasn't able to do. Ashley?
Well, yeah, and if you compare this to Fani Willis, the thing about Ilhan Omar and Cori Bush and Fani Willis, they're all victims of this. They're all victims of MAGA Republicans, and none of them will take responsibility for their own actions. Fani Willis actually went after her lover's ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, saying that she's having election interference by bringing this to light. Everybody is responsible except themselves, and that's just wrong. And there's no way that anybody, the American people, any other person could get away with what the radical left and the Democrats are getting away with. And hopefully she's also removed from Congress.
Yeah, well, she's being primaried. I looked into it, Ben, this morning. Cori Bush is being primaried out there in Missouri, and she stands a really good chance of losing that primary, meaning that we've got 9 more months of Cori Bush, and then we'll never have to hear from her again. But these are this is a criminal federal investigation. So she could be in a whole lot of trouble here, but you can't just pay your boyfriend $60,000 to be your security guard. Otherwise, everyone would use federal money that they're given to do things like that are against the law.